Hey everybody, welcome back to Watching in the Dark. I'm your host today, Garrett. We're going to go over how to make a display board on a budget. This is my first time making one, so I just recorded it, thought I'd throw it up so you guys can maybe learn a thing or two from what I do wrong, and I'll try to go over those as the video goes on. So, I will start us off. First off, we're going to buy a picture frame. 19 by 13 is what I went with specifically, because it fits perfectly onto my travel cart that I go to events with, so it just really sits in there perfectly for me to be able to take out and set in and just have a nice looking display board on my cart and fit on all levels of it. Next up, for paints, we'll need Xandri Dust. The first step to all of this is taking the glass out of the frame. Be careful, it can be sharp on the edges, they're not beveled, and just spray painting that black. Actually, this is going to be our base of the actual board. If you don't feel comfortable, you can get things like wood, metal, and other hard things that you don't want them to bow or stretch too much because they can damage the frame. I want the glass on the frame because I'm just going to try to be gentle with it, and it doesn't flex or anything, so you can keep it in hot, cold environments and not have too much worry. There is still a chance of it shattering or breaking or anything like that, so there is some cleanup if you do break the board, but the frame should also help protect it. So yeah, sorry about this. This is my fault. I forgot to record the part where I glued craters onto the glass and then primed it again. The next step is just covering the whole base with Agrelian Earth. I recommend using a bad brush for this, and just covering everything you can and making sure there's no light spots. I kind of go for a dabbing motion for after I do touch-ups, because you don't want these streaking lines in it, because if not, it's going to be too shallow or not enough grit on the actual surface, and you're going to see that in the end product. Next up, I just used the photo that came with the frame as kind of a paint catcher for my table. And then I just tilted up the board so I can get all the edges so I don't have to worry about setting it down on any of the paint. Highly recommend keeping that. With that part done, I go ahead and take it outside and put it in the sun so it can dry. I don't leave it out there too long or unattended in fear that the glass might shatter. So it was only out there for probably maybe 5 to 10 minutes tops. Just until the surface looks like it's fully dry. Now that the surface is dry, we're just going to go ahead and do touch-ups. Touch-ups are really easy. We're just going for any of the areas that look streaky, don't have enough texture to them, and this all around just don't look correct. Next up, we're going to wash Agrax Earthshade and Nolan Oil. These are really just to add some depth because we're going to go over it and dry brush at the end of it. Next up, we're just going to go ahead and use Xandri Dust and Carex Stone, just mixing it up and dry brushing the whole board. Basically what I'm doing is dapping my brush in the paint and then swiping it back and forth on a paper towel until there's very little that shows up. You can see I started off with a little bit too heavy in some spots. It'll be okay to have a little bit deeper spots that have like this deeper coloration, because it'll get hidden by all the layers of dry brush. Next up, we'll use the Shafty Bone just as a highlight for those dry brushes, really just to make them brighter in some areas, and all around just get a more cohesive look. Having all these different colors and stuff really sells this feel that this is a lived-in environment, and it makes sense that not everything is standard. And with that out of the way, this is the final product. Thank you all for joining me. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.